Hello, I'm learning Cantonese from scratch using the Refold method, which was created by the popular Japanese learner and YouTuber MattvsJapan. Today I'm going to be walking through the quick starter guide for Cantonese, explaining a bit of the basics of the method and getting the tools set up that I'll need to learn long term. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so day one learning Cantonese, and I'm going to work my way through the Refold quick starter guide for Cantonese. So I'll just go to refold.la, and once that's loaded, hit quick start, top left. At this point you'll have to sign up for an account or log in if you already have one. I'm already logged in, and it's taken me to Chinese by default, which is Mandarin, not Cantonese. I've learnt Mandarin in the past, so that's why we've gone there. But for our purposes today, I hit the drop down and select Cantonese here. And now you can see this is split into 4 little headings: learn how to learn, set up your learning environment, choose your study tools, and build your daily habits. Also some helpful links. The Discord servers are great, I recommend joining them, and this material's good as well. But right now we're just going to work our way through these 4 headings. So learn how to learn. This is just a quick overview of the main points of the Refold method. So basically it's about getting a load of listening and reading input before you start to output, having fun in the language once you can understand stuff, and of course you do have to do some study before you'll be able to understand things. Comprehension barrier, I am nowhere near for Cantonese because I'm a complete beginner, but hopefully I'll get to this fun threshold over in the coming months doing this series of videos. So hit next, and here we set up the learning environment. So immersion. This really is the biggest part of Refold. It's just spending an awful lot of time with the language, with native content generally. So YouTube, the first thing, this is going to be a big one for me. I don't do so much on the other sites, but I spend an awful lot of time on YouTube already. So hopefully switching some of my YouTube time to Cantonese YouTube time will be a relatively easy change to make, and I anticipate spending a lot of hours watching YouTube, but you may differ in the sources you consume. Any source is okay basically, as long as it's in your target language. So setting up the immersion environment, the first one is creating a new YouTube profile. So the idea of this is you probably already have a YouTube account, but it's when you've got a YouTube account that's where the recommendations you get are probably not in your target language. Even if you open up YouTube with the intention of studying your target language, it's very tempting to click on things that are not to do with language learning. So we want to remove that temptation by setting up a new YouTube profile, which is going to be purely populated with target language, in this case Cantonese, content. So there's a little video here showing you how to do it, but it's very easy. I'm going to do it now. So just go to youtube.com. This is actually already a brand new YouTube channel because it's my one that I've just set up for the purposes of making these videos. But we're not going to put this into Cantonese. Instead, top right, click on that goofy picture or whatever you happen to have up there, and then go to switch account, and then view all channels. Now, I don't have any additional channels here, just the main one with a fat 0 subscribers at present. So create a channel is what I want, and you come up with a channel name. I'm going to call this Cantonese, but actually I want to write that in traditional Chinese characters because it's all part of the immersion, seeing everything in your target language. So I'm just going to go to translate.google.com, type in Cantonese, and in the language to translate to, select Chinese traditional, and Guangdonghua is how you would say it in Mandarin, but obviously we're learning Cantonese. Copy that, paste, and that's going to be my channel name. Accept the conditions and create. Now we have a new channel, and top right you can always switch easily now between, just hit switch account, switch easily between your main account and this new Cantonese account and any others you may have. So if I go back to the quick start, now that we've made that, here we've got some Cantonese YouTube recommendations, and the next stage in setting up the YouTube account is to make sure that it's populated with actual Cantonese content. So if I go back here and just go to the home page, you can see at the moment it's all English content, and I'm not interested in any of this with this account. So pop back to quick start, and there are a couple of Cantonese channel recommendations already here. So if I just try opening one of these, and the quick way to teach YouTube that you want Cantonese content is by liking and subscribing to Cantonese channels. Don't need to actually watch it at the moment. I'm just going to like that, give it the message that I'm interested in Cantonese. Let's open one of these other channels. The internet's being slow today. Okay, this looks like nice easy content. I'll probably come back to that later, but for now I'll just like it. And this third one, absolute beginner Cantonese, very slow.
Hello.
Okay,
大家好.
like that one as well. Now we go back to the home page. Yeah, Google YouTube is already getting the message slightly. We've got one Cantonese recommendation here. I'm not interested in any of this English stuff, so just hit these 3 dots and you can either hit not interested or don't recommend channel, and if you do that for all the English content it will start to get the message. So do that for all of these. Let's try going to home again. Yeah, still not a load of Cantonese content, so maybe try watching some more of these videos. I didn't subscribe. Let's subscribe. This is part of a playlist, so we go to the next one. Like that. Next one, and like that as well. Okay, maybe let's get rid of this stuff as well. I'll try just searching for the name of the language as well in Cantonese. This stuff should be in Cantonese, so I'll like some of these.
大家好，歡迎大家收
Yeah,
聽
there
南
it
天故
is.
事。
And some other links on the right here.
大家好，
Like that one.
想同大家分享
This one looks like a new channel.
湯姆的服裝
This is
店。
also Cantonese, so we can like that. Subscribe. I seem to be getting mostly children's
湯姆
content
先
at the
生
moment,
係一
but
位老人家，
that's
佢每日
not necessarily a bad thing.
这个影片呢，我要介绍了2本绘本，是因为
这两本绘本呢，最早
So
原因是因为
we've
父
got
亲
some
节
Rogue Mandarin content there, so actually I'm not interested in that in this channel. Let's go back to the home page, see if it's getting the message. Well, we've got 4 out of 7 videos here Cantonese, so getting there. And after continuing this process for a while, you will eventually have only Cantonese content recommended. So we've set up our YouTube channel. Next thing in the quick starter is to install Language Reactor. This is a plugin that used to be called Learning Languages with Netflix. I've not used it before, but I understand it's a helpful tool which gives you target language subtitles, but originally with Netflix, but it works with YouTube now, and you can easily copy and paste sentences into Anki for sentences you're trying to learn, that sort of stuff. So let's go ahead and install it. Just hit the link, takes you to the Chrome Web Store, and we add to Chrome, then takes us to the Language Reactor site and tells us it's done. So that's that for now. Go back to the quick start, and the next thing is a pop-up dictionary. So these are really useful. I've used them with Mandarin before. In fact, I've got one installed already for Mandarin. Here, top right, if I just click that and go to somewhere where we have some Chinese characters, you can see you just mouse over and it gives you a translation. So that's the idea, but let's install the recommended Cantonese one. Add to Chrome. Okay, and I should just be able to hit that icon, which has disappeared, but hit that, and then let's try reloading YouTube. Okay, there we go. It is working, and it gives Cantonese pronunciation rather than Mandarin. And turn that off and go back to the quick starter. Building comprehension. Just a note about Immersion again, and the point of the tools we've just installed. So next we go on to choose your study tools. Now, phonetics. Cantonese is tonal, of course, has more tones than Mandarin, which was challenging enough. This is a video about the pronunciation, which I'm not going to watch right now, but I will do later. And the idea of this, learning the basics of the pronunciation at this stage, is less to start outputting and more just so that you've got a better chance of actually hearing and understanding the sounds, because there are sounds in Cantonese that don't exist in English, my native language, and initially I won't even be able to hear them and differentiate between various sounds I'm not familiar with. So deliberately studying the sounds will be helpful. Here a note on the script. Cantonese is of course written in Chinese characters, not in an alphabet. Vocabulary. Obviously you need a pretty large vocabulary before you can understand everything, all the immersion content you watch or read. It suggests here you need about 5,000 words, and you'll need to not just memorize it but also see it many times in different contexts before you really understand it. So you study it first and then you see it again and again in natural contexts whilst you're immersing, and that's when you really understand it. Now, the way we're going to learn vocab is by using a tool called Anki. Anki, for those who aren't familiar, is a spaced repetition tool. It's essentially a kind of flashcard deck, but instead of the traditional method of reviewing your whole deck of flashcards every time you want to study, It's a much more efficient approach using spaced repetition, which is essentially showing you the card just as you're theoretically about to forget the content. So it allows you to build up and maintain a huge amount of knowledge, which just wouldn't be possible if you were reviewing every card every time. So these sources are Anki decks, but before they're any use to us, we need to actually install Anki. So to do that, let's just search for Anki and hit the first link, and as a download here, I'm just going to scroll down and look at the options here: Windows, Mac, Linux, etc. I'm on Windows, so I'm going to download the latest version here. Right, once you've downloaded Anki, you can just follow the instructions to install it. And we go back to our quick start guide, and there are a few different options of beginner decks with a lot of useful vocab that you'll encounter frequently. So you can choose any of these options. Gamified intro, that looks interesting. That one may not be an Anki deck, but I'm just going to select the first one, Canto 1K, and it takes us to a shared Anki deck that we can download. It's got
應該
audio samples, definition, example sentence, and romanization. So this looks good. Just scroll down and download. And once that's downloaded, you can just double click it to open it in Anki. And now, if we switch to Anki, this is what it looks like when it's installed. It's giving me a message about the V2 scheduler, which I'm going to ignore for now, but I'll do another video about the Anki setup. And I've got this deck here called Cantonese within main. There's vocabulary within it. Anyway, this is the deck, and I'll do another video where I go through actually starting to study it, but that's going to be our main source for learning vocab initially. So if I go back to the quick starter now, grammar. Here are some sources for learning basic grammar. I'm not going to watch this video now, but that will be useful. And then next, and this is the final section of the quick starter, suggested daily routine. If you've got an hour, then it suggests splitting it 15-30 on vocab, grammar and immersion. This is an important part of learning, of course, setting up your study routine, but for now we'll just note that. Go on, how to immerse. I think this is the method I'm going to use mostly to start with. Find a short YouTube video with target language subtitles, traditional Chinese characters, and ideally direct transcript of what is said rather than standard written Chinese version. Watch it once without the subs, probably understand very little. Watch it again with this tool we installed earlier, Language Reactor, looking up words I don't understand, and then watch it again right the way through with subs and audio without pausing. System beats motivation. I think that's true. I've had many things I get enthusiastic about and dive into and spend a lot of hours on initially, but that always fades no matter how excited you are about something. So you need to put systems in place to keep you going through the tough times. And I think this is a good point as well. Check the box. Just turn up and do something, and that helps build the habit. And consistency. Yep, sometimes you'll miss a day, inevitable. Try not to miss 2 or 3. And that is it for the quick starter. If you hit next, it just loops back to the beginning. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to see any more of my content, my latest video will be linked up here. And in the meantime, don't forget to heckle me in the comments below, like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks and see you soon.